Well, hello. Welcome to the show. It's Monday, July 31st. I had to think for a second. Um, yeah, I got a few things to talk about today. Um, we're going to talk about the Russian-Ukrainian war and what's been going on with that. I know we haven't talked about that in a little while because I think people are kind of forgetting about it, which is sad and weird at the same time. We're so desensitized to war. I guess we just forget about it. Also talking about a little funny thing going on between Tom Segura, who's a comedian, if you know who he is. He's getting pretty popular now, and Garth Brooks, old time country singer that used to be something. I don't know if he's released anything in a little while. I'm not a country fan, so admittedly, I wouldn't know. But we'll talk about that. And there's like this little feud going on between them. It's quite funny. Also, the rise of segregation. This one's weird to me, but we'll discuss it. Why it's it used to be a bad thing, and suddenly now it's a good thing. So we'll talk about what the shift there and the culture was, and why we suddenly want to stick with our own race, unless you're white, and then you just should probably, you know, off yourself or something, because we're not much liked around here. We'll talk about Andrew Tate. We're always talking about this guy. He's in the news a lot lately. He's making the podcast circuit right now, so um, hearing a lot about him. Is he a pimp? Is he misogynist? Is he just a all around decent guy? I don't know. You kind of be the judge, so we'll discuss that and see where we kind of land on there. Also, sovereign citizens. Have you heard of this term? I've just become aware of this term probably in the last couple weeks. For some reason, Facebook, when I'm scrolling through videos, likes to pound me with all these these idiots claiming sovereignty, that they're sovereign citizens, and they're kind of they're not subject to the laws of the land. I don't know. Anyways, we'll talk about that. It's quite hilarious. And time blindness. Here's another thing, if you've ever heard of this, but again, just kind of I'm hearing about these things as new things. Time blindness. I thought that would just be somebody who has a problem with you know getting to places on time because they're irresponsible. But apparently, this is a thing. So you know, like anything else nowadays, we have to we have to um, coddle these kinds of weird issues that used to be just somebody being a douche. But I guess now we're gonna have to add it to the whole plethora of mental illnesses, I guess, that we have to curtail our society for. So, yeah. So if you haven't already, and you've been watching this podcast for a little while, I ask obviously that you subscribe to the podcast and to like this podcast, because all those things help the algorithm push the show so we can get to more people. We've been growing at a pretty steady clip over the last little while, which is nice. So, for all you new subscribers, thanks for joining us. Me right now, I mean, I'll have guests. Last week I had Tyler back. Obviously, we started the podcast together, but Tyler jumped ship, and but he'll come back from time to time, and I'll have guests. But for now, it's just you and me. So, if you do want to say anything, jump in the chat. You can talk to me. I'm a little bit lonely over here, so I would appreciate if you talk to me a little. Go easy. I'm really soft, and I have emotional problems, so my feelings get hurt very easily. So don't be mean. Actually, I love when you're mean. Be mean. It's funny to me. Troll me all you want. I don't care. Okay, so without further ado, let's let's get into the first thing here. I'm talking about Russia-Ukraine war. This it's been, I guess, been kind of quiet for a little while because I haven't really heard too much about it. But I guess there was a strike. Um, the Ukrainians did a drone strike on Moscow, on a Moscow building. Pretty benign, realistically. It did a little damage to a building. It was like a government official business building. I mean, and I guess now this is kind of like you know some type of retaliation, I guess. But according to Ukraine, Russia's been attacking Zelensky's hometown for the whole war. But I'll read this article, and this is from BBC News. So again, like I always say, take it with a grain of salt because it's the BBC News, so they're going to be very weird about it. Ukraine war, Russia strike on Zelensky's home city kills six. So at least six people, including a 10-year-old girl and her mother, have been killed by a Russian missile strike on the Ukrainian city of, can't read that, Chervivi, I guess. Ukraine's interior minister said 69 others were injured when missiles slammed into a high-rise building and university on Monday. It's pretty sad when they're attacking, um, residential buildings and civilian buildings. But you know, war is war. I mean, what are you gonna do? What do you, this is I have this debate with people when we're talking about war. It's I would liken it to like a fight, like a just a regular fight between two people. And if you have so if I'm a big strong guy and and a smaller guy comes at me and wants to fight me, okay, sure, the onus might be on me to be, to go easy a little bit maybe or whatever. But if that small guy's bringing all of his forces at me, and he's going to use weapons or any of that kind of stuff, well, you know what? He's probably going to get pummeled. So, as much as I disagree with, I'm not on Russia's side on this war. I'm not on anyone's side in any war, realistically. But I think in this case, there's a lot of arguments to be made that uh, Ukraine is kind of the you know uh, how do I say this? Russia's being a bit of the villains here in some way, but again, it's very messy. War is always messy, but anyways, so I'm not a big fan of you know civilian buildings being attacked, but at the same time, it is war. Things are going to happen. Sadly, people are going to be killed. Civilians, you name it, right? Anyways, okay, so I'll continue reading this article. I'm not going to read very much of it. It's pretty dry, so I'll skip down a little bit. President Zelensky, who grew up in the city of 600,000 people, said a pair of missiles smashed into the residential apartment block in a university building early on Monday morning. Locals told the Reuters news agency that the attack took place shortly after 9 local time, so 7 uh, GMT. What is that? Gross Mountain Time? Or I don't know what. I don't even know what they stand for. Okay, so President Zelensky added that dozens of people had been left traumatized and injured by the attack, but vowed that this terror will not frighten us or break us. He always does that. He always says that. Ooh, okay, sure. What are you gonna say? Oh, this one was the one. Okay? This was the one that shut us down. We're done. Okay, he's such an actor. This guy's such an actor. But I okay, I get it. Obviously, that he wants to play it strong and be the fearless leader. But you know, just okay, relax on the rhetoric. Uh, earlier this month, Earlier this month, the UN said there have been some 25,671 civilian casualties since Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine last year, but the true figure is likely to be far higher. Yeah, you wouldn't know. I mean, how would you know? People would have to report them missing, all this various stuff. So it's hard to say how many people really were killed or have been killed as far as civilians in that conflict. But very sad when we're seeing people being that aren't part of the war being killed. Ah, hello, Art. Real victims are the regular citizens. West West Ukraine is predominantly Russian speaking in favor of Russian government. It was annexed to Russia. There wouldn't be this if it was annexed to Russia, there wouldn't be this conflict. That would have been sensible. Zelensky is also a war profiteer. Yes, I agree with all that. Um, he's he's loving this. Let's be real. He's loving this. This is I don't see this guy and the current Western government ever coming to some kind of sensible agreement to end this war, to give, to make concessions, to do what's needed to be done to end a conflict. I think he's just, I think he's loving the attention right now. That's just my personal opinion, but prove me wrong. I don't know. Hopefully something happens with this next election cycle, and we can get some type of resolution to this, regardless of whether the Democrats win or the Republicans, or who knows, third party libertarian or something. Um, all right, so let's just uh, let's just go into the next thing I'm going to talk about here. It's a lot lighter hearted than some wartime junk. We got like I'd said here. Hold on, let me just cue this up. I gotta do all this myself. This kind of sucks. We're gonna get Tyler back here to do all this, so I can just drink beers and chat. Okay, so yeah, if you haven't heard already about this little sort of ongoing feud, if you want to call it, it's a funny feud. It's not a feud, I don't think. Yeah, between Tom Segura and Garth Brooks. Very quickly to bring you up to speed with it, sort of what happened there. Um, there's a I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like a little sort of I don't know, a little funny story um, about Garth Brooks. So Garth Brooks back 25 years ago or something like that decided he was going to release an album under uh, under a pretense or under a false under a disguise of Chris Gaines. And it was weird. It was really weird. It was this whole thing outside of his regular thing. Anyway, so then he went on tour and he was doing all this stuff on tour. And apparently a lot of the tour, all like his tour dates and locations, there were a lot of people going missing in those areas. Now, again, this is all just I'm not saying I believe any of it. It's funny, like not funny that people are going missing. I have to preface this as funny. I have to preface the fact I don't think it's funny that people are going missing or any of that kind of stuff. But it's funny that someone would put that together, two and two together. It wouldn't be funny if it turned out true, but Tom Segura got hold of this little fun fact and just kind of started needling or trolling Garth Brooks, I guess, his Instagram and such. So I'll read this article. It's a little bit it's a little lengthy, but I'll just read the start and we'll see where we stop. So country singer Garth Brooks seems to have put an end to the ongoing serial killer jokes. Recently, his online nemesis Tom Segura revealed that the country singer had blocked him on Instagram after he initiated the fake murderer jokes. This comes as the performer teased bringing back his alter ego Chris Gaines more than 20 years after releasing an album under the same name in 1999. Tom Segura recently appeared on Theo Von's this past weekend podcast to reveal that he was blocked on Instagram by Garth Brooks. The former said that he had got information from a reliable source that if tomorrow never comes, singer was well aware of the serial killer joke. Yeah, well, obviously, it's hilarious, and it went kind of I don't know if it went viral, but it spread quite quickly. He added that the unintended or unidentified source told him that Brooks does not understand why he was talking about him. Segura then revealed that he has been blocked on Instagram. Um, yeah. So I'm not reading anymore. It's fine. It's it's kind of the funny thing about it is like he's just trolling him. I think he's a comedian. Like Tom Segura is a comedian. He found something funny and he starts trolling Garth Brooks. I think Garth Brooks should be actually happy about it. He's put him into a different sphere now. Like he's opened him up again. I think Garth Brooks was, you know, not that he was irrelevant, I guess, but I think his relevancy has waned over the years, and now being spoken on popular podcasts, and by popular comedians, albeit not for the best the best reasons. Um, I think it's good for him. I think get a sense of humor, man. Just relax. Maybe lean into it a little bit. If you do, unless unless it's true in some way, unless some of this stuff is for reals, then maybe lean away. But don't lead anybody to any clues, let's say. But if it's totally untrue, just lean into it, make jokes, whatever. Who cares, man? I don't know. It just seems the whole thing seems silly to me and funny. But the fact that he blocked him now is like a kind of like just he cut him off now and just puts an end to the joke, which is a little bit sad to me, I guess. Um, all right, well, we'll see how this goes. I don't know if we're gonna get we're gonna get more of this or less or what, but we'll see it. We'll see what Tom Segura does next. I'm sure he's not going to just give up on it, but it'll be funny either way. All right, let's get into the next thing here. This ugh, this one I hate. This kind of I just hate this now. I thought we got away from this, but it seems like segregation, or whatever you want to call it, is coming back. This whole, you know, cultures staying in their own group and things like that. I'm not against it. I'm not against, like you having a, you know, whatever. You have a black, whatever. They're like a group that are doing whatever, right? But it just seems, I don't know, man. It seems gross to me if you're saying, okay, only blacks, no whites allowed, no Asians allowed, no, it just feels real icky to me. It feels like we're moving backwards. But I don't know, it just seems to be promoted more so in the mainstream now, uh, as like something to champion. Whereas, if it is fringe and it isn't, this isn't kind of becoming widespread, then let it be fringe. But by putting it out there, it just feels to me like it's, you're really promoting this for an agenda. Let me read this. I came across this actually watching a Mark Dice video. He talked about this very article, or this group, I should say, this the same article that he was talking about. But it says black outdoorsy groups reclaiming the joys of nature. Okay, so Allen, Texas. I couldn't help but feel anxious as I drove deeper into rural northern Texas. The familiar coffee shops. Oh God, I don't want to read this. This is fluffy. Let me see if it gets down to something. Okay, so uh, groups like Vibe Tribe Adventures, Outdoorsy Black Women, and the National Brotherhood of Skiers are just a few of the many organizations working to provide safe spaces. Come on, man. For Black people to enjoy outdoor activities and dispel myths that the outdoors doesn't belong to us. Who's saying that? Get the fuck out of here. Good article, NBC. Who's saying that outdoor spaces don't belong to Black people, or ethnic other uh, ethnic cultures or ethnic minorities or any of that kind of thing? Who's saying any of that? So suddenly we own the outdoors too. As a white man, I'm just going to tell you all, I own all of it. I would like royalties on everything. If you decide you want to breathe some air in the forest, just go the check to me. I'll send you all my details. But otherwise, sorry, you can't. You're just going to have to, I don't know. I think we own the indoors too. So I don't know. I don't know what you're allowed to do. Just what a fucking joke. Anyways, a good article. Many of these groups are holding hikes and other outdoor activities in honor of Juneteenth. Vibe Tribe Ventures began as Black Girls Hike, the brainchild of Jessica Newton, 39, who developed a passion for the outdoors as a child, attending a predominantly white private school. Some 1,200 Black women joined Black Girls Hike in the year after it launched in 2017, which Newton said was jaw-dropping. She too had been indoctrinated into the belief that Black people don't enjoy outdoor activities. I don't know if you can catch all the eye rolls. This is stupid. For one, this article's stupid. The whole idea of this is stupid. Well, and I mean, I'll just read this other thing I just read here. Attending a predominantly white private school. So it's predominantly white. It didn't say white only. Imagine if it said white only. Holy shit. This would be a different article. This is just stupid. This idea that in order to enjoy the outdoors, and I'm not okay. Let me preface my point here. I'm not saying that these groups are necessarily saying that. This article, though, is, and people are reading this article, and the way this article reads is that if in order for Black people to enjoy outdoor spaces, safe spaces, they have to create their own whole um, segregated group to be able to enjoy that. This is racism. This is racism. This is promoting racism. I don't know how you can see it any other way. The article promotes racism. The idea of the group is fine. If you just do that and you're doing your thing, you promote your group. Okay. Maybe you're a bunch of Black people that want to enjoy the culture of other Black people in your group with you. But this whole idea of like safe space and these kinds of buzz terms to make it as if they're in danger, these people are in danger somehow from white people that are controlling the outdoors is laughably absurd. So, just do better. This is pathetic. NBC, you're just peddling garbage as you always do, and these kinds of woke junk racist ideas need to die, just like your silly company does. Kind of shit just makes me spoils my blood when I read this shit. I'm like, such a loser. You write like a goof. You're writing to be, I don't know if you're writing to be edgy or writing to be, you want to be provocative in some way. You just come off as a douche. Fuck you and your idiot segregation ideas. Nobody's peddling that shit anymore other than you garbage news, whatever you want to call you. Uh, legacy media likes. Oh, all right. Anyways, when I get riled up, there's no point. Okay, let's oops. Let's talk. Let's talk about Andrew Tate. He's all over the place. Like you know, he laid low for a little while because of all the legal issues he's been having. Um, I would too, but suddenly he's doing all the different podcasts he's been on. Oh, geez, I think he was just on what's Candace Owens. Tucker did one with him. I think even somebody else big, I can't remember who it is, uh, did a podcast with him. So he's doing all this long form podcast, which is cool. I like hearing from the guy. Very sensible guy. He's got a lot of good ideas. But as this article was saying, I'm a little bit I'm on the fence with this idea. Is he a pimp? Is he a bit of a misogynist? The misogynist term I think is so loose, so it's hard to say that he's a misogynist to me anyway. I don't think he's necessarily a misogynist. I think he has old school sort of ideas of you know gender roles, what men are supposed to be and what women are supposed to be, and they're a little antiquated. I mean, but some of them still, I think personally, have a lot of relevance and should. I think we should hold on to traditional values of different things, men holding the door open for women. I think these are nice things. I don't think they need to go away. Excuse me. This hyper feminism that's destroyed these ideas in men, or created weak men that don't want to do that kind of thing anymore because they're afraid of backlash, or some kind of societal uh, ridicule in some way. It's not good for us as a society in whole. So I'll read this article a little bit. It's an opinion piece. Washington Examiner. I don't even know. I'm not sure where these guys lean. They look like a conservative thing. Just first look, I would guess that they're conservative, but who knows? Let's see what they have to say. So with Andrew Tate, why are conservatives pushing a man who acts like a pimp? It's a little bit provocative right off the start, so let's see what they say. So in recent months, the online influencer Andrew Tate has rocketed to the forefront of conservative media in the United States. As Liam Siegler put it for National Review, a notable portion of the right is intrigued by former kickboxer and current masculinity influencer Andrew Tate for the amount of rage he provokes from the left, with Tucker Carlson being the highest profile example of right-wing interest. It's kind of it's a meaty, wordy little paragraph there. Basically, just saying that there's a lot of interest on the right-hand side. Before and after these interviews, Tate has been the target of widespread criticism across the political spectrum, with much of his criticism, along with continued and feverish attention relating to his indictment in Romania, along with his brother and two Romanian women. Tate was charged with forming an organized criminal group as recently as 2021 with human trafficking across Romania, the United Kingdom, and the US, and with rape. Okay, so according to him, Andrew Tate, that's not true, but I don't know. So I don't think so when they say charged, they didn't really charge him with anything. They accused him of that. They didn't really charge him with anything, because had they charged him with those things, he would have had a trial. They put him in jail. I know all that. I'm not saying that he didn't do any of it. Maybe, but they don't, at this point, they don't seem to have anything enough to to even have a full trial on him. It's almost like they're trying to gather gather evidence against him. Uh, I'm not going to read any of this. Let me see here. Okay, so Tate and his brother Tristan Tate reportedly made millions from various webcam websites, self-described by the Tates as a total scam, with models dressed in lingerie taking calls from viewers for $4 a minute with additional private shows available. Okay, so yeah, is that shit? Yeah, that's kind of shit. I don't agree with that. I think it's, yeah, I'm not a big porn guy anyway, but it's capitalism. He's making money on the oldest thing in the book. I mean, men wanting to talk to and get attention and interest from lovely ladies. I don't know. Good on him, I guess. Not something I would do. I wouldn't personally feel good necessarily about making money that way, you know. But again, I'm not going to say that I'm taking the moral high ground on this. If that were made available to me and I made a ton of money doing it or something, and everyone that's involved is consensual adults and everything's on the up and up, okay, I mean, fine. The way I liken something like this or this kind of it's freedom of choice, right? All this is freedom of choice. If as consenting adults, if we decide we want to do something, we should be able to do it. Set aside your moral compass on whether something is right or wrong. For example, this kind of thing like pornography, just because maybe morally you think it's wrong, or you have a religious inclination to say this is disgusting, or God would uh, would shun this kind of thing. Fine, that's your opinion. But for you to espouse that on someone else, now you're just controlling them. And I don't believe in that. It's no different than, which is funny to me because the left or liberals, even classic liberals, um, seem to be for abortion. Uh, Now there's varying degrees of that, late term or whatever, but abortion in general, abortion's awful. I'm not for abortion, but I'm pro-choice. Just like this, I'm not for pornography, but I'm pro choice. It's anything consenting adults want to do without hurting other people, I think should go nuts. Same with like drug use and such. If you're not hurting others and you want to take all kinds of drugs, whatever you want to take, go nuts. You want to kill yourself, as long as you do it in a way that's not hurting anyone else, I think you should be free to do that. I believe in absolute freedom, absolute autonomy. So um so this guy, okay, I think he's, yeah. Is he? Does he have sort of a torrid past in some of the stuff he's done, maybe to make money and such? Sure, but is his is what he's saying legit? I think so. If you listen to him speak, I think he's very intelligent, and I think a lot of the things he says is promoting traditional uh, gender roles and values and things, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think you should throw the baby out with the bathwater because maybe he's done some some shady stuff to make money. If it's on the up and up, again, if it's not illegal and unethical, in other words, not, he's these are all consenting adults, then I think just leave him be, man. But we'll see how this comes out. Again, it's a little early to see if he's actually innocent or guilty, but he is staying relevant for now. um all right, that's enough of that. I got a couple of these silly things to talk about. I'll kind of get through these fast because I don't want to run too long here. Um, so, like I said, sovereign citizens. I don't know if you haven't heard of what these guys are. These guys are the equivalent, or this idea is the equivalent of, like, it does reference QAnon in this, but in this article, I'll read a little bit of it. It's not even really an article. I think it's more like an explanation. But this is kind of the same as like the democratic socialists. I don't if look this up if you haven't seen them. They're quite funny. Maybe I'll talk about them on the podcast. 'Cause I feel like I have before, but you know, I've they're a turd. They're a turd somewhere hidden on the internet right now that I feel like I could talk about and get a good laugh out of. But here's the turd of the day: the sovereign citizens. Now these guys, okay, so let me read what this is about. This is quite funny. So sovereign citizens believe they are not under the jurisdiction of the federal government and consider themselves exempt from U.S. law. They use a variety of conspiracy theories and falsehoods to justify their beliefs and their activities, some of which are illegal and violent. Okay, so here's some. Here, okay, I'll read it. I don't know where to stop. I might stop somewhere in here. I didn't read this article, and I'm reading stuff that feels like it's stupid. But okay, so the sovereign citizen movement continued to see membership growth in 2022. The QAnon conspiracy theory that initially brought new people into the movement has remained a gateway into sovereign citizenship. A new group, which calls itself Life Force Network, is a fusion of Q-centric conspiracy theories, science fiction, and fake alternative governments, and courts called sovereign citizen assemblies. The organization's main villain is the Order, the main villain, which they describe as an international group that has dominion over the governments and is made up of regular anti-government bogeymen, such as the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and seemingly fictional characters such as the Anunnaki and dragon families. Okay, so this is a little weird. Here, I'm not gonna read any more of this, is because it's just gonna be that kind of article, I think. I was hoping it was more of a definition of it, but it doesn't seem to be. You need to go check out videos of these guys in action. You can see them online and stuff. Check out YouTube; they're all over the place. Of these people when they're trying to pull that with police or they're trying to pull it with judges. It's funnier when they're doing it with judges because with police it's just kind of aggravating and irritating because I feel for the police. They're especially when they're just trying to ask them like simple questions that I don't feel like you should contest. Somebody, if a cop asks for your ID, okay, just, here's my ID. Have a look. Or can you roll down the window? Or these kinds of things. Like people just want to be ridiculous with cops now. But if you watch these guys in court, that's when it gets really funny because judges they're not going to play with this junk. And they'll try all kinds of stuff where they're like, "Oh, I don't recognize that as a law," or it's silly. But I think this is like anything. When you start to go down the path of something silly like the defund the police movement and all this kind of thing, you're creating this sort of disdain for police from impressionable people. Because I think still the majority of people don't think that way, but the impressionable ones, these people that the kind of people that can get riled up by somebody, like their um, peer pressure is something that really works with them, or when somebody says, "Yeah, come on, do it," and they'll just do it because they were riled to do something stupid. These are the kind of people that do this kind of thing, and I think now with this sort of this push from to defund the police and then just showing disrespect to police in general, um, and when police officers being disrespectful to you, I understand maybe some disrespect back, but same time, maybe just turn the cheek. But you see this now, and now this is the natural progression to the next thing. It goes from disrespect for the police and law in general to now just an anti-establishment idea that suddenly laws don't apply to you because you're a sovereign citizen. Well, good luck with that, because when they do arrest you and they throw you in jail, you can show them your sovereign citizen card all you like, but I don't think it's going to work for you. Um, all right. I should have got a video of one of those. But a lot of them are too big. They would have been just a giant clip, and I didn't want to have to, scale it down or any of that. Yeah. So, let's go on to the last thing here. This one is just stupid. So I'm gonna end on a stupid note here. If you thought everything else that you heard about sort of like these, I don't know, just all the gender identity stuff, you thought that was stupid. Well, how about this one? Time blindness. So this is it's this is kind of a real thing, but it's been grabbed and made into something stupid. So time blindness, the idea that if you're, time's flying when you're having fun or these kinds of things, right? Like we've all been like personally, when I'm away on vacation, time goes by really, really slow. When I'm on the beach or I'm at the pool bar or I'm, doing an excursion or something like that, it's great because time goes by so slow. I'll think 5 hours have passed and an hour has passed. So But conversely, it can happen where time is just dragging on when you're working, when you're hating doing something or whatever, right? So this idea of time blindness is a real thing. But in this case, this is these are people that are actually using this. Now I'll read a little bit about this, and then I'll tell you where it kind of fits into the bullshit rhetoric of our current culture here. So it happens to all of us. We're deep in conversation with a good friend, and time just melts away, or you meant to watch an episode of a TV show before bed. Now you've somehow wound up thick in the third season, and it's almost time to get ready for work. So it says a skewed perception of time happens to everyone at some time, and for people with attention deficit or hyperactive disorder, ADHD, or autism spectrum disorder, keeping track of time can be particularly difficult. Some people call it time blindness. It's a natural consequence of hyperfocus or becoming so engrossed in an activity that you block out everything else around you. So here's the normal of it. Um, let's see if it talks about this. No, this is just talking about when it happens. Stuff. This article seems, yeah, this article is actually pretty good. I didn't read it, so I didn't know where it was going to go. But how this relates to this new idea of time blindness, um, we're now getting people that are using this as an excuse that they're time blind or that this is somehow some type of mental illness that needs to be coddled to, like, we need to coddle this person because they have this time blindness now. Oh, I'm not able to show up for work on time because I have time blindness, or or I wasn't able to hand that assignment in on time. My time blindness. It just was. You know, I should be excluded from any type of um, deadline or time constraint on anything. I have a start time for work. No, that doesn't apply to me. I have time blindness. And this is a real thing. Look it up. These are real people. I'm sure you find it all over TikTok, people talking about this kind of thing. But it's one of the new things. The funny thing about our society right now is people are going to find any loophole that they can use in any way they can utilize it to their betterment. So something like this, as if we should, as a society, say, okay, well, you know what? Well, and I make this joke, it's probably going to end up happening. I'm an employer. I guess I have to hire, because equity and inclusion, I'm going to have to hire X amount of these people, two people that have time blindness. So those people don't have a start time. They just kind of waltz in when they waltz in, and they waltz out when they waltz out. They don't have a watch or anything that they can look at. That wouldn't be right to put a watch on their arm. So yeah, I make jokes, but this is our reality that we live in. This kind of stupidity, this hyper stupidity, uh, used as excuses to get out of being accountable for anything. Any anything that anything that you do wrong, or that you're involved in, that you maybe might get in trouble for, not your fault. It's either something like time blindness that caused it or something else. So just latch on to all the excuses. That's basically what we're teaching everybody now. Yeah. So, well, apparently I have time blindness because I've been going for 39 minutes. So I apologize. Time flies when I'm talking to myself or Art for a couple of questions. Thanks for joining the chat, Art. Um, anyone else that's been watching or have thought to chat, next time jump in the chat. I appreciate your comments or questions or anything you want to say. I appreciate it. So if I do miss it at times, which lately I haven't, because I'm not getting enough comments to miss, but if I do, apologize. But I will get to it. Um, if you have liked it or you have watched this podcast all the way through, I ask that you like the podcast. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the show. Every Monday at 7 o'clock, I'm doing a show. If there isn't a show, I'll let you know. But as it is right now, there's been one every Monday at 7 o'clock, and you can catch any of the topics that I talked about in smaller bite-sized clips over the week, from generally from Tuesday to Sunday. Sometimes I'll sneak a seventh one in there for Monday, but like I did today. But typically it's from Tuesday to Sunday, 5 o'clock, and then so you can catch those. And obviously like those and share them and do all the things that you got to do. Uh, I'll say thanks for watching. It was nice having you if you were here. If you weren't, well, maybe I'll catch you next time. See you next Monday at 7 o'clock.